Hi guys, well in today's video we are back onto the graphics cards, and in the spotlight here we have the ASUS Phoenix GTX 1660. It comes as no surprise that this here is destined for 1080p, but the great thing with Phoenix is this compact design, which opens up the door for small form factor builds based around mini ITX or micro ATX. Being such a small card means that we have a single cooling fan, which should help to keep the noise levels to a minimum compared to a double fan configuration. As with all ASUS cards, this one here benefits from automated manufacturing courtesy of Auto Extreme, meaning that soldering is processed in a single pass and with a higher level of precision. Now this card is obviously quite basic, but you'll be surprised to know that it still delivers a factory overclock. And it gets even better because it can be picked up for 224 in the US, at 218 in the UK, and then 379 in Australia. So not too bad at all, considering you've got the benefits there of a tiny card and one which has that GPU increased out of the factory. So this is perhaps a good option for you guys if you're gaming at 1080 and you want to save a bit of cash. Now before the unboxing, today's video is brought to you by Stormforce, who are a UK-based company specialising in the building of high-performance gaming rigs for those who want a pre-built system. We've reviewed many of their configurations over the last few years and they come highly recommended by us. Not only do they install a selection of great hardware from reputable brands, but they also offer a generous 3-year collect, repair and return. You can check them out at the link in the description. Okay, so here is the Phoenix GTX 1660. It's a bit of a lackluster affair with this card as it isn't the best looking GPU that we've seen. Nevertheless, it is still a dainty, charming piece of kit. We get a plastic shroud which covers the top face of the heatsink underneath, and that fan and the accompanying stripe seem to be the main attraction. Due to the low price tag, Phoenix is without any RGB lighting, which some of you may be quite pleased about. And later in the video we're going to be detaching that cooler to see what it comprises of. Now this card is compact and small, and as such is going to go nicely into a smaller case. Here it is next to the GTX 1060 Founders. It's only right that we provide some measurements, as this will allow those of you who are upgrading to identify if it's going to fit inside your case. And so for the length, Phoenix is around about 175mm. For the width, you're looking at just over 110mm, and then the height 35mm. Now Phoenix has a factory overclock applied to it, and so the base clock is set at 1500, and that boosts up to 1830MHz. And the memory operates at 8000 effective, so that is at stock. To get the most out of this card, you're going to need to install the Tweak 2 software, as that is going to allow you to choose between the different profile modes. OC mode being the highest clock of 1830. We should also note that we're using GDDR5 with the 1660, and there is 6GB of it. This card is also PCI Express 3.0 compliant, DirectX 12 ready, and it supports OpenGL 4.5. Our card will occupy 2 spaces on the case and board, and covering the back panel here, ASUS has gone with just 3 video outs. And so we have one DisplayPort 1.4 that can give you up to 8K at 60Hz, one HDMI 2.0 that gives you the 4K at 60, and then one DVI port. And it is strange there to see that DVI making a reappearance. A lot of partners are now moving away from this in favour of HDMI and DisplayPort. However, with all of those, we still get good support for multi-screen use. To power this graphics card, you're going to need a 450W power supply with a single 8-pin connection. So that is pretty easy to cater for, and it's certainly low powered. You can also see that ASUS has provided this card with the LED indicators there to help identify if a cable is properly connected. Nvidia has of course reserved SLI for the high end, and therefore there is no SLI port on this card, so you're not going to be able to combine 2 of them, unfortunately. Over on the reverse of the card, we have just the bare PCB, so there's no protection here for knocks or flexing, although based on the size of the card and the weight, it is definitely not going to be bending. After detaching the screws off that back section, here is our 1660 with the cooler removed. Phoenix uses a single wing blade fan, which is 90mm. That fan is IP5X dust resistant certified, and it uses double ball bearings for a longer lifespan. Now, unlike other cards, this does not benefit from 0 decibel, and so the fan will not stop spinning while in the idle state. And that fan sits over quite a small heatsink compared to what we've seen in the past. It has the small copper base plate to marry up to the GPU. And it'll be interesting to see how effective this cooler is towards the end of our video. Since we've removed the heatsink, we can also get a glimpse of the inner workings of the GTX 1660 as well. Across the board, we have the inclusion of a 4+1 phase design, and as we said earlier, this card here benefits from the automated manufacture, and so everything you see has been done with absolute precision. And as you can see, at the heart of our GTX 1660 is NVIDIA's TU116. So this is 12nm Turing architecture. So that is the design of the card, and now it's time to see what the performance is like. And since the 1660 is designed for 1080p, we're going to use that resolution and we'll crank that detail preset right up to maximum. Now for this video, we're going to be applying our best manual overclock to this card using the Tweak 2 software, and then we'll run our benchmarks. And so we managed to take the boost up to 1890 and the memory clock up to 2077. And while we check out these games, we're also going to have GPUs that are running in the background to pick up on the peak GPU temperature. So we'll jump out of our last game for that. Okay, and if we just come out of our last game, we can check out the temperature. And there you have it. That is pretty good considering the size of the cooler on this card and the fact that we are running a manual overclock beyond what ASUS has applied out of the factory. Alright, well that concludes our look at the Phoenix GTX 1660. As far as the 1660 goes, this is definitely worth a look. If you're designing a new PC and you're tight on those dimensions, this card will be excellent at slotting into those tight compartments in a mini ITX case. As far as the performance goes, as you've just seen there in those games, we just ran 1080p Ultra. Phoenix is able to give us those respectable frame rates, and best of all, we actually applied a manual overclock, so our best overclock on that GPU and the memory. It allowed us to squeeze even more performance out of it. And so putting this card here against a stock 1660, you're going to get some reasonable performance gains. Now in terms of the cooling, having a single fan is obviously going to be better than a double fan in terms of noise levels, but also looking at the temperatures, it's ample really for keeping the GPU temperature at bay. Even with an overclock applied to it, as you've seen, it did creep up to 80, but that is really nothing to be concerned about. With good airflow in your case, those figures are going to be much lower than on our test bench. So the shroud on this isn't the most appealing, not the most appealing design, is it? But as far as functionality goes, this is a brilliant card. And today's question for you guys, what resolution do you game at? Just cast your vote in the top right corner. So thanks for watching today. If you can like this video, it really does help, as well as also subscribing to the channel. That really makes a big difference to us. When you do subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification just to make sure you get that nudge whenever we do upload new content. So guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time.